Hi, it's Edward, back with another video. Please take a moment to click the thumbs up button below and consider subscribing to the channel. Please also share this video via social media and with your friends via email. Thank you for your support. Today, I read several financial news articles. I've included links to the articles in the description below. I encourage you to read the articles to support the authors and news sources. As a private American citizen, I'd like to report and share my transformative thoughts through commentary regarding small sections of these articles that are of public interest. Today, I read an article on Yahoo Finance put out by Business Insider and written by Phil Rosen titled, "99% of Americans will be financially worse off than they were pre-pandemic by mid-2024, JP Morgan says." The author referenced Marko Kolanovic, JP Morgan's top stock strategist, as saying, "It is likely that only the top 1% of consumers by income will be better off than before the pandemic." He pointed at the growing signs of credit card and auto loan delinquencies, as well as Chapter 11 filings. In my opinion, it is sad to hear about this. I am not surprised that many everyday people are relying more heavily on credit cards to survive due to inflation. For some, the credit card is the only way to cover the cost of food or medication. It is a sad state of affairs for some people here in our country. My heart goes out to those who are struggling, and I hope they are able to find a way to get beyond their current financial situation. Marko Kolanovic went on to say, "Consumers are facing tighter credit conditions and rising rates, wind down of COVID-era stimulus and relief programs, declining excess savings and liquidity, and multiple years of above-average inflation." Here are my thoughts. It is likely the above-average inflation that is really impacting people the most. Above average is putting it lightly, in my opinion. Housing and food are where we have seen some staggering increases in prices, and both are important for most people to survive. It really bothers me that so many people right now are struggling, and for some who are not struggling, they may be in the near future if they are relying on credit cards to bridge the gap between their take-home earnings and the cost of living. The money borrowed by everyday people needs to be paid back at some point, and that is when life can get more difficult. I read another interesting article today on Yahoo Finance put out by Fox Business and written by Megan Henney titled, "U.S. Households Lost $1.3 trillion during stock market rut this fall." According to the author, U.S. household wealth plummeted in the third quarter by the most in a year as the result of deep stock losses. This is according to a Federal Reserve report released Thursday. Household net worth fell about $1.3 trillion, or 0.9%, in the three-month period from July to September to $151 trillion. The decline was largely due to a $1.7 trillion drop in the value of equity holdings. That was offset by a rise in the value of real estate held by households, which hit a record high last quarter. Here are my thoughts. Many people who have been in the market for the past decade and a half have done quite well. Those who can't stomach the ups and downs and moved their positions around at the bottom when they got nervous probably didn't fare as well. Over the long run, the markets have done quite well for many investors. In my opinion, it is quite clear that the government, Federal Reserve, and the billionaire elite want to keep the markets propped up at all costs. I'm going to ask all of you a question, and you can respond in the comment section below. Under what circumstances do you think the government, Federal Reserve, and billionaire elite, who often influence those in power, will ever let the markets be free and let true price discovery prevail, even if we encounter a significant downturn in the future? That never happened in 2008. If it had, the world might be quite different than it is today. That never happened in 2020 either. Share your thoughts in the comment section below regarding this. Getting back to the article, I feel bad for households who have experienced a drop in their net worth due to stock losses on paper. However, those losses are on paper. If they don't sell, they could possibly recover, and I suspect many have already recovered. I feel worse for American households who don't own any stocks or real estate. Many of these households are being left behind in our current economic system. Many are unfortunately suffering because of inflation. Some of you in the comments say that I talk too much about doom and gloom financial topics, so I thought I'd talk about another interesting article that I read today. I read an article on yahoo.com put out by Rolling Stone and written by Miles Klee, titled "Musk Fanboys Melt Down After Ralph Nader Founded Car Safety Group Trashes Cybertruck." According to the author, on Thursday, the Center for Auto Safety took a swipe at the divisive truck in a tweet, joking that anyone who drives one is insecure about their manhood and was picked last in gym. The nonprofit consumer advocacy organization also asserted that the Cybertruck will be dangerous to everyone else on the road. The author went on to say, car safety experts have said that its stiff stainless steel panels could contribute to additional damage in collisions with pedestrians, cyclists, and other vehicles. Here are my thoughts. I watched a video featuring Tesla employees who discussed how the Cybertruck was engineered and manufactured. It is actually a fascinating feat of engineering. The vehicle basically has a rigid exoskeleton and is far more rigid than a traditional truck with a steel frame. Tesla engineers had to figure out how to bend the stainless steel panels without creating visible defects at the bends. They had to create a whole new process where high pressure air was used during the forming process of the panels. If that isn't impressive enough, the vehicle is steer-by-wire and brake-by-wire. And there is four-wheel steering available on the Cybertruck, which makes the turning radius much better than conventional trucks. The Cybertruck really is an engineering marvel for those who can afford it. I think there are fans of Tesla who can appreciate all that they are trying to accomplish with this new truck. It is going to be very interesting to see how many Cybertrucks Tesla sells over the long run and how happy people are with all of the features. The performance of the Cyber Beast, which is the top-level trim model, is amazing for such a heavy vehicle. For car nuts who like performance, this may be right up their alley. What do you think of the Cybertruck? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. There are a lot of people who have zero interest in the new electric vehicle transition happening in our world. I read an article today on yahoo.com put out by GMA and written by Morgan Korn titled, "Sales of Gas-Powered Sports Cars Rocket Before Automakers Go Electric." According to the author, it took less than 6 weeks for French automaker Bugatti to sell all 99 units of the Mistral, a $5 million roadster built with the Marquis's hell-raising 16-cylinder engine. Maybe it was the appeal of owning an open-top hypercar, or maybe it was the announcement that the 110-year-old brand was going electric. Here are my thoughts. I'm not surprised that some automotive enthusiasts want to get their hands on one of these gas engine Bugattis before the company goes all electric. While I can appreciate the technology in electric sports cars and I can appreciate the amazing electric torque, I just prefer the rumble of a big internal combustion engine. When I was young, I loved listening to some of the old Beach Boys songs, like the 409 song that came out in 1962. This was a song about a Chevrolet with a big block 409 engine. I also liked the Little Old Lady from Pasadena song released in 1964 by Jan and Dean. When I was young, I was always interested in the 1960s and early 1970s muscle cars, especially those with big block engines. I just thought the car culture during that era was fascinating. I really liked the American Graffiti movie, which featured several old hot rods. If you've never seen that old movie, you should really check it out. You'll barely recognize Harrison Ford in that movie because he was so young. When I was young, I went on a road trip to California, and I was disappointed that it wasn't anything like what was described in those old Beach Boys songs. I've gone to car shows occasionally as an adult, and it is cool to see people who are passionate about keeping older vintage cars running in tip-top shape. It is always cool to look under the hood and see an all-original big block engine with really wide cylinder heads and valve covers. Many of these cars have skyrocketed in value, and some of the number-matching vehicles are now out of reach financially for many everyday Americans. I'm happy for people who have seen their investments in these vehicles increase. I'm sure some of them have no interest in ever selling them, regardless of the price. Some get very attached to these cars, especially those who spent hundreds of hours restoring them. What do you think about sports cars going all electric moving forward? Even the Corvette is going to be all electric soon. If you are into old hot rods and muscle cars and prefer them over modern electric sports cars, tell me about it in the comments section below. Please keep in mind that nothing in this video is financial advice or advice of any kind. If you need advice, seek advice from a qualified professional in good standing who puts your interests first and foremost. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the channel. Please also consider sharing this video via social media or via email with your friends. I want to extend a special thanks to everyone who has subscribed to this channel. I want to also thank all of my channel members. Check out some of the great books that I suggest you consider reading in the description below. I've included Amazon affiliate links to these books. As an Amazon associate, I earn from qualifying purchases. Stay healthy and wealthy. I'll see everyone in the next video.